Welcome to the Tech Life Well podcast. We're delighted to have you with us.
Where we make technology simple, thoughtful, and useful. For more insights and episodes, visit techlifewell.com.
You know, usually when we sit down to talk about marketing trends, it feels a bit like reading tea leaves. It's all very crystal ball.
Right. It's a lot of hype.
Predictions about what might happen in 5 years or what the metaverse could look like if, anyone actually decided to live there.
A lot of buzzwords and very little practical how-to. It's educated guessing, really.
Exactly. But today, this feels different. We aren't looking at a prediction. We're looking at, a demolition site.
Mm-hmm.
The job description for a marketer hasn't just been edited. It's been shredded and taped back together in a completely different shape.
And I think for a lot of people listening, that's not exciting. It's actually pretty terrifying.
It is. And we need to validate that fear.
We do. Because if you open LinkedIn on any given Tuesday, you're just bombarded.
Oh, yeah. Marketing is dead. AI took my job.
If you aren't using this tool, you're a dinosaur. I mean, it is exhausting.
The fatigue is real. So the goal for this deep dive is to cut through all that panic. We've got a massive stack of research today. We're talking high-level strategy reports from BCG and Nielsen, technical forecast for 2026.
And some really wild case studies from brands like Klarna and Coca-Cola.
And I want to be clear about our mission here. We are not going to talk about how to use ChatGPT to write a blog post.
That is old news. That's so 2023.
We are going to uncover the real shift, which is the transition of the marketer from a creator of content.
To an architect of intelligence.
From creator to architect. I love that distinction. But before we get to the blueprints, we have to look at the foundation.
We have to look at the now.
Because the adoption numbers in that Nielsen report, they were not exactly subtle.
No, they were staggering. According to Nielsen's data, we aren't in the early adopter phase anymore. This is saturation.
Saturation.
Yeah. They found that 80% of global companies are already using AI for measurement.
80%.
And if you look at North America and Latin America specifically, that number jumps to 85%.
85% is, that's basically everyone.
Pretty much.
That means this isn't some fringe tech that a couple of startups are playing with in a garage. This is mainstream corporate strategy.
It is. And if you're at a company thinking, maybe we'll look at AI next year, you're already in the minority.
We're way behind.
Way behind. And because it's mainstream, we're finally seeing the results. We're moving past hype and into, hard numbers.
And some of those numbers are, frankly, unbelievable. Speaking of which, I was reading through the Klarna case study from the Stack.
Oh, yeah?
And honestly, I had to reread it to make sure I wasn't seeing things.
It's the headline grabber for a reason.
It is wild. So for those who missed it, Klarna used generative AI to reduce their marketing production time from 6 weeks down to 7 days.
6 weeks to 7 days.
And they generated something like 1,000 custom images in 3 months. But the kicker,
The money?
they saved $10 million a year in marketing costs.
That $10 million figure is what gets every CFO's attention. But I think the 1,000 images part is actually more interesting for us.
How so?
Well, think about the logistics of that before. To get 1,000 unique on-brand images,
That's a nightmare.
you're talking photo shoots, retouching, agency back and forth, licensing fees, getting approvals on every single asset.
And they compress that into a quarter. It just fundamentally changes the economics of creativity.
Exactly. And it's not just Klarna. You see Coca-Cola building entire platforms to let creators generate brand-style content.
Right, the Diwali campaign.
The Diwali campaign in India,
Yeah.
They used AI to generate personalized greetings. It wasn't, here's a generic Coke ad. It was personalized at a scale that is humanly impossible.
You just can't hire enough illustrators to do that manually.
No way.
There was one other example I really liked because it was less about scale and more about just a flex. The Heinz campaign.
The draw ketchup campaign. Brilliant.
So clever.
Yeah.
So they asked an image model, I think it was Dilly, to just draw ketchup.
Didn't say Heinz.
Nope. And because Heinz is so dominant in the training data, the AI just kept drawing the Heinz bottle.
It's incredible. It proved their brand dominance without them having to say a single word.
But that's a perfect example of using the tech creatively, not just for efficiency.
Actually, that brings me to a really important point of caution here. We have to be careful not to get blinded by the wow factor of all this.
I felt a but coming. There's always a catch when things look this good.
Well, there's a warning in the BCG report that I think is critical.
Right.
They argue that CMOs who focus only on productivity and efficiency are falling into a trap.
The efficiency trap.
Right. Think about it. If you have a bad process, say a content strategy that produces boring generic blog posts that nobody reads, and you apply AI to it, what happens? You don't get better marketing.
You just get bad marketing, but faster.
You've accelerated mediocrity.
Yeah.
You've automated the noise. And there is a real penalty for that now.
How so?
The platforms are actively punishing it. Look at what's happening with search. This is something every marketer needs to be paying attention to.
The source material touched on this, the AI summaries. Those little paragraphs at the top of Google now.
Correct. The ones that answer your questions so you don't have to click a link.
Right.
The data shows those AI summaries have an 8% click-through rate. Compare that to the, standard 15% we used to see for top organic links.
That's a massive drop, almost cut in half.
So fewer people are clicking through because the AI is just reading the site for them and summarizing it.
And if your content is generic, if you're just writing what is ketchup or top 5 marketing tips,
the user reads the summary and leaves. You get zero traffic. The top-of-funnel strategy that powered the internet for a decade is just dying.
So what's the counter move? If the AI eats all the basic info, what's left for the marketer?
You have to be original. Original research. Strong, unique definitions. Contrarian takes.
You need to provide the kind of insight that an AI summarizer can't easily replicate because it's not in the training data yet.
You have to be the source of the news, not the aggregator of it.
That is a huge shift. It basically kills the whole content mill strategy.
It does.
But I want to pivot to something else you mentioned. The idea that we're moving past just generating text and images. The stack talks about agentic AI.
Yes. This is the structural shift. If Gen AI making pictures and text was Act 1, Agentic AI is Act 2.
And it's a much bigger act.
A much bigger act.
Okay, let's unpack this, because agent is one of those words that gets thrown around a lot in tech right now. What makes an AI agentic?
Think of it as the difference between a tool and an employee. A hammer is a tool. It sits there until you pick it up and swing it.
Right. ChatGPT, for the most part, has been a tool. It waits for me to tell it what to do.
Agentic AI is a system that doesn't just predict or create. It acts. It functions autonomously.
Okay.
It can learn continuously and adapt without you holding its hand every step of the way. It has a goal, and it figures out the steps to achieve that goal.
So practically, instead of me asking it to write an email, I'm giving an agent a goal, like increase attendance for this webinar.
Exactly. And the agent decides when to send the emails, who to send them to. It analyzes the replies. Maybe it tweaks the subject line for the second batch.
Because the first batch didn't get enough opens.
Right. It's doing the feedback loop by itself. It's managing the workflow.
That's a little unnerving, but also incredibly powerful. It sounds like you're describing a junior employee.
You basically are. And the BCG forecast on this is bold. They predict that agentic AI will handle more than 20% of the total marketing workload within 2 to 3 years.
20% of the total workload.
20%.
That is going to fundamentally change how teams are structured. If a robot is doing 20% of the work, who is doing the rest? And more importantly, who are we paying?
That is the billion-dollar question. And this is where it gets really tense for anyone listening who works at an agency or, hires agencies.
Yeah, the sources highlight a lot of agency disruption.
It do. BCG suggests that agencies' contribution to tech-heavy tasks could drop by 11 to 14%. CMOs are getting skeptical.
They're looking at their agency bills and asking,
why am I paying you for 50 hours of copywriting when my internal AI agent can do it in 5 minutes? Why am I paying for production when production is now free?
So the old model of, we have the creative brains, you pay us for the hours, is just crumbling because the hours are disappearing.
It's fading fast. The dichotomy of in-house versus agency is being replaced by a mix.
So your internal team, your external partners,
and your AI agents all working in one ecosystem. The agency becomes less of a factory and more of a strategic partner.
Which brings us back to that architect idea. You aren't just managing people anymore. You're managing a construction site where some workers are robots and some are humans.
That's a great analogy. And if you're going to be that architect, you can't just wing it. You need a new set of blueprints.
Okay.
The sources outline a very specific toolkit for 2026. There are 7 new competencies listed.
7 sounds like a lot of homework. Let's focus on the big technical concepts that jumped out. The first one is MCP Model Context Protocol.
Right, MCP. I know, it sounds like something from a sci-fi movie.
It does.
But don't let the acronym scare you. Think of this as the connection layer.
Connection to what?
To reality. One of the biggest fears marketers have
is AI hallucination. We've all seen the horror stories.
The airline chatbot offering a refund policy that doesn't exist.
Or a retailer promoting a product that's been out of stock for months. The nightmare scenario.
Right.
MCP solves that. It allows the AI agent to access your real-time data, your actual budget, your live inventory, your current performance metrics.
So it makes the AI aware of the business reality right now?
Exactly. So it's not just guessing based on training data from 2 years ago. It's checking the live database before it answers.
Okay, so MCP is the live feed. That keeps the AI grounded. The next one is ARGRE Retrieval Augmented Generation.
ARGRE.
I've heard this thrown around in tech circles, but why does a marketer need to know it?
ARGRE is the solution to generic content. We talked about how generic content kills your traffic. Our ARGRE is how the AI remembers you.
Remembers me how?
No, deeper. Think about hiring a new intern versus working with someone who's been at the company for 10 years.
Okay.
The intern creates generic work because they don't know the history. They don't know the vibe.
Right. They have no institutional memory.
RA gives the AI institutional memory. It allows the system to retrieve your brand's specific documents, your style guides, past campaigns, customer interviews, and use that to generate content.
So instead of just asking ChatGPT to write a witty tweet, you're asking a system that knows every witty tweet you've sent for the last 5 years.
And knows exactly what your audience finds funny. Precisely. It stops the AI from sounding like a generic robot and turns it into a strategic partner that actually knows who you are.
That makes sense. So MCP connects to live data, RE connects to history. That leads to the third big concept, context engineering.
Right.
Now, be honest, is this just a fancy word for prompt engineering? Because I feel like I just learned how to write good prompts.
It's the evolution of it.
Yeah.
But there's a distinct difference. Prompting is asking a question.
And context engineering is?
Designing the room the AI lives in.
Designing the room. Unpack that for me.
It's about information architecture. Think of it as the ultimate creative brief.
Okay.
When you hire an agency, you don't just say make an ad. You give them brand guidelines, negative constraints, target audience data, legal disclaimers.
Right. The whole package.
Context engineering is building that environment for the AI systematically.
Right.
You are engineering the constraints and data inputs so the AI can't fail.
So the marketer's job becomes less about writing the copy and more about setting up the environment.
Yes. You are the architect of that environment. And here's where the job gets even more interesting.
Go on.
If you have an agent creating 1,000 images, like Klarna, you physically cannot review them all.
Right. I'm not spending my weekend looking at 1,000 JPEGs. No way.
Exactly. So you need a new way of checking the work. The sources talk about LLM as judge.
LLM as judge. So using one AI to grade another AI.
It sounds meta, I know, but it's necessary for scale. You train a separate model specifically to evaluate outputs against your brand guidelines.
You teach it to ask questions like,
is the logo correct? Is the tone friendly? Is there any bias in this image? Is this legally compliant?
It's automated quality control.
And that ties right into governance. In 2026, governance isn't just a legal checkbox. It's core infrastructure.
You have to be checking for bias, fairness, output validation.
If you're running autonomous agents, you need guardrails. You need to know the machine isn't going off the rails while you're sleeping.
It's funny, we're talking about all this automation agents, RA, robots grading robots, but the sources also emphasize something that feels almost contradictory. They talk about the human premium.
It's not contradictory, it's compensatory. As one side becomes more automated, the other side becomes more valuable. Scarcity drives value.
Let's talk about that, because for the listener who is freaking out a little bit about all this tech, who is thinking, I don't know how to code, I don't know what an MCP is, where do they fit in?
The Forbes source puts it perfectly. The role is shifting from operator to architect. An operator pulls levers, an operator sends the email.
And an architect designs the system.
Your job is to define the why. Why are we running this campaign? What are the implications? Does this narrative actually make sense to a human being?
The machine can build a house, but it can't decide where to build it or why we even need a house in the first place.
Exactly. The machine is excellent at execution, but it has no taste. It has no soul. And there's a very practical tip from the Forbes author on how to stay relevant. They call it the 3-hour rule.
I saw this, I highlighted it. Break it down for us.
It's simple, but it can be painful. You have to block at least 3 hours a week purely for AI learning.
And to be clear, this isn't doing your regular job using AI.
No.
Yeah.
This is learning about the tools. Testing a new platform, reading a white paper, playing with the new model.
Because the tech is just moving too fast. If you only look at it once a quarter, you're 6 months behind.
You have to be hands-on with the evolution. You need to know what's possible.
3 hours feels like a lot, but I guess the argument is if you don't do it, you won't be busy for long.
Harsh, but probably true. And investing that time is what builds that human premium. The Nielsen data showed 51% of marketers are prioritizing sustainable and purpose-driven marketing.
And 47% are prioritizing authentic influencer content.
And that's the stuff AI is bad at. Authenticity, purpose, vibes, for lack of a better word.
Right.
As content becomes automated and cheap, human connection, trust, and values, they become the luxury goods. They become the premium differentiator.
So if every brand can churn out perfect copy, the brand that feels the most human wins.
That's the idea.
That is a really hopeful place to land. It's not about fighting the machine. It's about being more human than the machine can ever be.
Precisely. It's about leveraging your humanity as a strategic asset.
So we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about the efficiency trap, the rise of agents, unpacked the toolkit, MCP, RAG, context engineering, and we landed on the human architect. How do we summarize this massive shift?
If I had to boil it down to one sentence, we are moving from a world of building assets, writing emails, designing banners, to a world of governing ecosystems.
Governing ecosystems?
You are managing the agents that build the assets.
That sounds like a promotion, honestly.
It is, if you're ready for it.
Yeah.
But I want to leave the listener with a provocative thought from one of the sources. They made a really interesting point that vendor AI won.
Meaning the big guys. Microsoft, Salesforce, Adobe.
Right. A few years ago, there was this dream that every company would build their own custom AI models. But that kind of faded. Most companies are just using the AI embedded in the tools they already pay for.
Copilot in Word, Firefly in Photoshop, Einstein in Salesforce.
Exactly.
So here is the question for you listening right now. If every one of your competitors is using the same Salesforce AI and the same Microsoft Copilot and the same Adobe Firefly, where does your competitive advantage come from?
It's a great question. You aren't competing on the tool anymore. The tool is a commodity. Everyone has the same hammer.
So you're competing on the context you feed it.
And the governance you build around it. It all comes back to the architect.
The quality of your blueprint determines the quality of the building.
Exactly. It's not about the AI. It's about your data, your strategy, and your taste.
Well, on that note, I think I know what I'm doing for my first 3-hour rule block this week. I need to go look up model context protocols before I get left behind.
You have fun with that. It's a rabbit hole.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Good luck building your ecosystems, and we'll catch you next time.